Hello, this is Ryan Kelly from VMware, and today I'll be walking you through a live demonstration of VMware Cloud on AWS. So before we get into the details of VMware Cloud on AWS, I just want to point out some of the differences between this and another service called VMware Cloud Services that we announced recently at VMware. So VMware Cloud Services is about a unique set of features to manage multiple clouds that you may be consuming from, for example, Amazon, Microsoft Azure, but also to be able to administer and manage your on-prem vSphere as well as eventually VMware Cloud and AWS resources as well. They do share a common interface and a common authentication mechanism, but I do want to point out that what we're talking about today is this stack on the left that is really about bare metal provisioned service of vSphere SDDC in the cloud. So from bare metal on hardware in Amazon's data center, provisioning and allowing you to administer your vSphere environment, which consists of vCenter, ESXi hosts, vSAN, and NSX, all deployed in a single click. So why the need for this offering? So what we found is IT departments fall into three general scenarios. Scenario one being running out of capacity internally, having issues where it takes a long time to procure hardware, takes a long time to install and set up that hardware, and they need capacity on demand. So they want to have this ability to expand out into a public cloud environment without refactoring, with cost avoidance of buying hardware. We've also had situations where we've seen IT departments that want to just get out of the data center business altogether. They are closing a data center, they are running a data center in a building or area or region that is not staffed well, or that data center is in serious need of repairs or upgrades or modifications, and they don't want to invest that money. So they want to just run this VMware vSphere as a service in the cloud. We've also had IT departments that are very heavily into spinning up VM environments and then tearing them down, either in a test or development, so continuous integration, spinning up a large number of virtual machines, running some automated tests on that, and then destroying those machines, or end of the year or during peak business months, they need a lot of capacity, and then they don't need that capacity, but they have no way to expense for that, having bare metal or hardware on-prem. They need some way to fluctuate that cost and that demand. So why is this different than any other cloud, and how is this offering different than previous offerings that VMware has offered? The main points that we're seeing is customers are looking for operational consistency. They want that same VMware vSphere experience both on-prem and in the cloud. They want to use the same existing skill sets and tools, so PowerShell, PowerCLI scripts they have running, either adjacent products that sit on top of vSphere, like vRealize suite for automation or operations, or they may have third-party tools that were deeply integrated into the vCenter and vSphere platform. They have more control to be able to manage and secure these environments because they already know vSphere. They know the security parameters. They know all the ins and outs of how to secure a VMware and vSphere environment. They also want enterprise class SLAs. They want to have things like HA and vMotion, put machines in maintenance mode without interrupting the application while it's running. And they want compatibility with applications that they're currently running today, whether those be off-the-shelf, homegrown apps, legacy applications that were built 10, 20 years ago that are running on vSphere today. They want to be able to lift and shift those environments to the cloud without refactoring, re-architecting, redesigning, or redeveloping the app and spending hours or hundreds of thousands of dollars on doing that. So what VMware Cloud and AWS really does is makes the hybrid cloud real. Because it is the same vSphere on both sides, vCenter, ESX, vSAN, NSX, you really get that hybrid experience of consistency. And we also introduced things like hybrid link mode for vCenter, which we'll show in the demo, where it allows a single pane of glass view to administer both your on-prem vSphere and vCenter ESX host environments, as well as your SDDC environment in the VMware Cloud on AWS from one single interface. So be able to view, run reports, run Power CLI and scripts against both those environments without logging into two separate interfaces. So what the solution consists of, again, is bare metal provided ESX hosts with vCenter, vSAN, and NSX deployed and configured all in little under 2 hours, roughly around an hour and 45 minutes for a 4-host cluster. It's deployed into Amazon's data center. However, it is not some sort of nested ESXi. It's not sitting on an instance in Amazon. It's not a dedicated instance. It's truly bare metal hardware. We're calling the APIs from Amazon technology, and then we are deploying all the vSphere stack using Cloud Foundation. And what this does is it's essentially, and it is the same code and the same software that you're running on-prem today. So the same vCenter, same ESX, same vSAN, same NSX as you're running on-prem is the same code base that we're running in the Amazon cloud. It may be a release higher than what you're using. However, once you upgrade your on-prem, you'll have consistency to do things like vMotion or move machines in and out of the VMware Cloud and AWS. One advantage this gives you that's a differentiator of this service from other services in the past is we are consistent with all of the API calls and all of the third-party and our own sister product integrations on top of this stack. If you're already running things like vRealize Suite, running vRealize Automation, vRealize Operations, all of those technologies will run and work with this environment because, again, it's just vCenter at the end of the day. So when I provision, you'll see in the demo, I'll provision my SDDC environment, and then I'll log into vCenter client and administer it just how I do today on-prem in my data center. But one thing that's an advantage here is because this environment is being deployed into an Amazon region and an availability zone in Amazon, it has that adjacency to those native Amazon services. So if you want to begin to transition to more of a cloud native type of architecture, if you're building apps, but you're not quite there yet where you want to go 100% all in on a cloud native type of system or refactor and re-architecting your entire app, you can take some little steps to get closer to that reality. So for example, you may have a VM that's running Apache or Windows IaaS that's running in your VMware Cloud and AWS data center that you may want to leverage something like object-based storage, Amazon S3 for image attachments for that website, because managing that storage locally on that VM was becoming challenging, and you want to actually expand the possibility of the uploads. You're having more active traffic on that particular intranet or internet site that you're administering, and that developer may want to leverage things like Amazon S3. Same example, if you want to convert to a more scalable database format and you want to leverage things like Amazon RDS. So that adjacency will be there and available for you when you deploy VMware Cloud on AWS. So with that, probably seen enough slides. We're going to just jump into the demo so you can see this in action. All right, so first we're going to go ahead and log into the console here. So let me just go to the VMware Cloud on AWS URL here. And from here, I'm going to go ahead and log in as my VMware credentials. So now when you're on the landing page, you can see, as I mentioned earlier, we do have VMware Cloud Services as part of this same portal and same authentication mechanism. But again, today we're going to focus on the VMware Cloud and AWS service offering. So now that I'm in the portal in the console landing page, I'm going to go ahead and create my first SDDC. And we'll go ahead and get started provisioning my ESX host clusters, vCenter, NSX, and vSAN, and then from there we can go ahead and begin to log into vCenter and start uploading images and provisioning virtual machines. And as you can see, I've already created my account in AWS and pre-populated a VPC in the Amazon console, and then that created my connection to the VMware Cloud on AWS service. So we'll go ahead here and click Next, and then we'll give it a SDDC name. So this is VMware Cloud Demo, and then we'll pick our number of hosts here. So 4 looks good to start with. And then that'll show you your total capacity of what's available. And then we'll choose our Amazon region. In this release, we only have US West Oregon, but there's many more on the way coming soon. We'll have full Amazon region support by the end of 2018. So we'll go ahead and click Next here. And then here I'll go ahead and choose the VPC that I want this to land in. And you want to choose a VPC that is adjacent to or the same availability zone as any services that you want to utilize from this SDDC. So again, example being you have a web server VM in this SDDC in vSphere that is leveraging S3. You want to make sure if you're going to do those kind of operations or architecture, make sure you're dropping this into the same availability zone. And then here you'll choose a subnet. You can see this is in availability zone US West 2C, and then that will avoid any egress charges of that cross VPC traffic. One of the many benefits of the VMware Cloud and AWS service. So here we'll just enter our CIDA block. So I'm going to just do a and then we'll go ahead and click Deploy SDDC. Alright, so while that SDDC is provisioning, I've already got one out of the oven here, so we'll go ahead and use this one. So let me just click into this environment. So you see in the console you'll be able to see some of the utilization, some simple performance monitors, CPU, memory, and storage. And then you'll also be able to view the network configuration of your environment from the network tab. So as you can see, the service is split between a management plane and a compute plane. So we've separated the traffic for your vCenter, NSX Manager, those things with your compute. This is just following best practice of majority of our on-prem customers. So for example, a lot of customers want to separate that traffic off, have some sort of two-factor authorization to get into and log into vCenter for security reasons. We've taken that same architectural design with this service. And then I also, as you can see here, have my route to my Amazon VPC that I may be utilizing services like S3 and RDS from. And I've already gone ahead and taken the steps of creating the VPN connections for both my compute and my management segments back to my on-prem environment. So later I can do things like hybrid link mode with vCenter between my on-prem vSphere and vCenter environment and this environment that's in Amazon's data center. And then I can also do things like cold migrate virtual machines, which we'll show later in the demo. And one of the prereqs for opening vCenter, by default, after you provision this service, the firewall is deny all access. So it won't just provision and allow someone inadvertently to access vCenter of your environment. You actually have to open that port, and that's the first thing you do when you onboard is open that up, start administering vCenter. So I've already gone ahead and done that, so let's just open vCenter and jump right in. So when I click on that tab, what you'll see is there's going to be a default username and password. Obviously, once you get your environment configured, you can change this to your security requirements, but for now we'll go ahead and use these credentials to log in. I'm just going to copy that password and then open vCenter. So here we'll just log in as cloud admin at local, and then we'll just paste that password in there. Alright, so we're logged in, and as you can see, I've provisioned obviously vCenter I'm logged into, and then my 4 ESXi hosts, and then also within these hosts I have vSAN data stores that are also configured. So we'll go to our data stores that are provided and backed by vSAN, and then we also have NSX that is doing the networking. So what I'll go ahead and do first is go ahead and create a new logical network that I'm going to provision my virtual machines onto. So I'll go here to logical networks. Alright, so here we'll go ahead and create a new logical network. I'll just name this demo net 1. Oops. Then create the CIDR block. '24, and we'll enable DHCP on here, and then we'll give it a DNS domain, do corp.local, and then OK here. So now that this is created, we have a network that we can drop our VMs onto once we create our content catalog. So let's go ahead and do that next. We'll go to our content. Oops. Okay, so now that's created, we have a network that we can drop our VMs onto. Once we create our content catalog and upload our images, we'll be able to provision and have those virtual machines land on a network. So let's go ahead and create our content library first. So go to Content Libraries. Now we'll create a new content library. So just name this Demo Library. And click Next here. It's just a local content library. We'll put it on the workloads data store. And then we're ready to complete. Let's go and refresh the screen. Now we see we have that demo library. Then we can go into the templates folder. And then we'll go ahead and import an item. And it's going to be a local file. We'll go ahead and import a local Windows server. Go ahead and click OK here. Okay, now that's uploaded, we're ready to provision our first VM. So let's change the view here to VMs and templates. Let's go to the templates folder and let's go ahead and provision that Windows server that we just uploaded. And we'll do a new VM from this template. So we'll name this Demo Windows. Let's choose the workloads folder and we'll just put it in the test bucket. Now we'll choose our compute resources, the test resource pool. Now we'll choose the storage, put in the workloads data store. We'll customize and power on. Use the Windows customization spec and then go ahead and click finish here. All right, so now that's complete. Let's go ahead and log into that virtual machine here. So we'll click on Demo Windows, and then we'll just launch Remote Console. And now you can begin to interact with this virtual machine just like it's sitting in your data center. All right, the next thing we're going to take a look at is a new feature that was introduced with the VMware Cloud on AWS service. That's the hybrid linked mode. So let's just go to administration, and then we'll go to hybrid cloud, and then linked domains. And as you can see, I've already gone ahead and taken the steps to go ahead and link this. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and open up a new browser window here in incognito mode so I can log in again. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and log in. And this time, instead of logging with the VMware Cloud on AWS credentials, I'm going to go ahead and log in with my local vCenter credentials. So go ahead and log in here. And now you see when I get logged in, I'm able to view my VMware Cloud on AWS SDDC. So I can see my data center, my cluster, the 4 hosts we created earlier. But I can also go ahead and browse my local vCenter environment, all from the same vCenter interface. So I can see all my hosts and clusters that I've provisioned locally in my data center, but I can also see that same view of the VMware Cloud and AWS resources. So giving you a true hybrid cloud experience all through one management interface. But I can also do cool things like I can cold migrate virtual machines to my VMware Cloud and AWS environment. So I can go ahead and migrate this machine. So we'll migrate this over. So change both compute and storage. And then here we'll go ahead and pick our VMware Cloud on AWS SDDC and then drop it in the compute resource pool and test again. And then again, we'll change it and drop into that workload data store. And then we'll just drop it into the workloads test folder. And we'll put it on the VM network. And then we'll just click finish. So then while that's copying, let's go ahead and take a look at some of the other management products as part of the vRealize suite that you can use with VMware Cloud on AWS. So first, let's take a look at vRealize Automation. So let me just log into vRealize Automation 7 here. Let's go ahead and take a look at the infrastructure tab and the endpoints. And now you can see we have our local vCenter that's already configured as an endpoint, and then all we need to do to add provisioning for VMware Cloud on AWS is add another vCenter endpoint. Because it is just vCenter, it's just running in Amazon's data center, there's no additional endpoint that needs to be used or any special configuration or any changes to the way you operate vRealize automation. It just sees VMware Cloud and AWS as another vCenter. And that allows you to go ahead and start creating blueprints and provisioning services and blueprints against the VMware Cloud and AWS data center, just like you're provisioning into your local data center today. But that's not the only tool that is used with VMware Cloud and AWS. We also have the ability to use any of the vRealize tools. So we'll take a look at vRealize operations, and I'll lock in as so now you can see from vRealize operations, I can see both my local data center that's housed locally on-prem, and then I can see my SDDC data center that's in VMware Cloud on AWS. So from the same management interface, again, without having to load any kind of custom connector, it's again just vCenter. So the same vCenter APIs are exposed in VMware Cloud on AWS as well as your on-prem vCenter. So there's no changes, no changes to any operations or any processes that you may have locally, all using the same management interface. It's just sitting in Amazon's data center again. Now, since we're on the topic around operations and automation, you're probably asking yourself, well, what if I'm noticing that my cluster in VMware Cloud on AWS is at or near capacity and I need to add additional capacity? So to answer that question, let's go back to the console and take a look and see how that works. So we're in our SDDC that we deployed earlier, and we can go here and take action against that. So if I see at some point that my CPU, memory, or storage is at or near capacity at 90-95%, I can go and add another host to this cluster, and then I can choose the number of hosts I want to add, and I'll see what additional capacity that brings me, and then I can go ahead and click Add Hosts. And then all of this functionality that you see in the UI, so being able to configure your network firewall ports, create SDCs, add additional hosts and clusters, also has an equivalent REST API. So if you go to the same URL that I'm on and then just do /swagger and then /index.html, you'll be able to see the list of available REST commands and their corresponding get and post API calls to be able to first get a token to be able to authenticate to your instance of VMware Cloud and AWS, and then you'll be able to do tasks like provision SDC, add additional hosts, create DNS records, anything you need to do that's in the UI. You can also automate through either your own custom REST API scripts using something like Python or an equivalent Power CLI that will be available as well. Well, that concludes the live demo portion. I would like to thank you for taking the time to view this today, and I hope you're as excited about this new service as I am. If you have any questions, feel free to post in the comments section below or visit my website, vm2cloud.com, or follow me on Twitter at vm2cloud. Goodbye for now, and I hope to hear about your experience with this service very soon.